Hi everyone and welcome back to Bonnie Astrology. Today we're talking about the new moon in Virgo and what it means for your zodiac sign. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for regular astrology updates. You can also book a reading with me in the description box. Email, that's the only place you can get me. Watch out with Mars being in Gemini for 7 months. Scammers are very common and likely to be doing the rounds in the comment section. I won't reach out to you directly for a reading. It'll have to be you contacting me, and the email in the description box is the only email you can get me, so just copy and paste it from there. And yeah, let's get into the video. So I do have a separate video up on the astrology, the overall collective themes for this new moon and what it means. It does have its own story, but in this video we're getting into what it means for your individual zodiac sign. So you can watch your sun, moon and rising to get the most accurate results for you astrologically. Each zodiac sign is going to be getting a miniature tarot reading for this as well though, so it is worth, even if you just usually watch your rising for astrology, checking out your sun sign and your moon sign for a little bit of mystical input. So yeah, this is a beautiful new beginning in your Virgo house. The timestamps are listed below. I do hope you enjoy this video. Let me know either way, and I will talk to you soon. Bye. Hi Aries, sun, moon and rising. So Aries, this is a beautiful new beginning for you happening in your sector of health, of well-being and of work. So for a lot of you, this looks like perhaps you are starting a new goal related to health and fitness. Perhaps you're joining a gym, a new gym. Perhaps you're taking on a new exercise. You're maybe subscribing to a new exercise related Instagram account. You may be trying a new diet. You're maybe trying to incorporate something into your well-being schedule, such as meditation. Perhaps you're trying something new in terms of your health, like breath work, or you're trying to get more time outdoors, or you're trying something new in your schedule to sort of brighten up your day a little bit. It might also be with the square to your ruler Mars in Gemini that you are figuring out a way to process your mental thoughts, your way of thinking. Perhaps you're trying something that is going to help with anything to do with your mood. That can be your anxiety or something like this. With Mars being in Gemini, do watch that you have a sharper tongue, and do watch this if you are interviewing for a new job, or if you have new colleagues, or if a colleague is annoying you at this time. You may just feel like your mind is a bit busier, but having said that, this is actually a strong indicator that a lot of you could be starting a new job, or a lot of you could be applying for new jobs, or perhaps you're having these recurring thoughts of maybe I need something a little bit more stimulating, a little bit more interesting, or I'm just going to put the feelers out there and see how it goes. The ruler of this new moon is Mercury. Mercury is in your 7th house of partnerships, relationships, and it is in the shadow period. So with its connection to Mars in the 3rd house, it might be that a lot of you are having important conversations in your relationships, perhaps revisiting old issues, perhaps even with Mercury getting ready to go retrograde in your 7th house of partnerships, perhaps reconnecting with people from the past. It doesn't necessarily have to be romantic. Sometimes the 7th house can show up as best friends. So a lot of you could be reconnecting with someone from the past around this time, or it could be on your mind at this time. And perhaps thinking about conversations or what it is that you would like to say or should have been said. There can be a bit of a reminiscent thing going on with Mercury retrograde in the 7th. So I do think as well for you with Mars being in your 3rd house, there could be a little bit more attention going on than usual, because Mars shows us where our attention is and our frustrations. There could be tension with neighbours or siblings at this time. And in some instances, Aries, a sibling or a neighbour or even a friend could inadvertently or on purpose dent your confidence if you are trying something new health-wise, or you are trying something new work-wise. Work and health is where you want to put your focus though. That is where you want to put your energy, even if Mars is coming in here and sort of, ramming you with maybe a comment or something that is making you feel a little bit edgy. It might also be that some news is coming in that makes you want to focus on your health and well-being a little bit more, or just a sense of mental chatter. So I'm in a Mercury ruled year and Mercury's in shadow, and already I feel like I just can't get the words out. I don't have the articulation. So let's get you a card for this new moon in Virgo. We have the Woman. So there could be a itchy. There could be a woman coming up in your life. There could be someone of significance. This could be hearing from somebody who is female. This can also be an indicator of significant communications with someone who's female. So that could be, for example, you're applying for a new job and the person that you're talking to, the recruiter or the person interviewing you, is a woman. So there seems to be a key female here. I do think this is also indicative of perhaps for some of you a new job or focusing on something new. Perhaps for some of you it's skincare or hair care, because this girl is glowing. That might be part of your new regimen, your new ritual, your new schedule, that sort of thing, Aries. So that is what I have for you. I hope you have a beautiful new moon, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye. Hi Taurus, sun, moon and rising. So Taurus, this new moon is bringing a new beginning in your sector of creativity, of fertility, of love, of romance, of play, of pleasure, and also children. So for a lot of you, there could be some kind of new beginning in any of those areas. Now, there's a bit of tension and strain coming in with Mars in your second house. So where Mars goes is basically where our energy is, and it's where we're putting a lot of energy. It's also where sometimes we can feel a bit drained, but it can also be where we're really pushing forward with something. So for you, Taurus, is in your second house. So you're pushing forward with making money, you're pushing forward with your finances, you're trying to get them organized, you're trying to get them in order, you're trying to make money come in, you're maybe spending money a little bit more than usual. With that square, it might be for some of you that you're having to spend a lot of money on a child or childcare. If you're starting a new beginning there, perhaps you simply are having a baby and you're realizing it's going to cost money already. Or it might be that you have a new beginning in love and romance, and perhaps you are questioning if the values line up with Mars being there. It feels like for a lot of you, this is an opportunity to begin something new that gives you a lot of pleasure, that gives you a lot of joy, but perhaps you have a lot of stuff going on with your finances, or perhaps you have a lot of things going on with your income, or perhaps your material possessions that's giving you a bit of stress, and you need to turn a little bit more to having more fun, to having more joy, and to incorporating that in your life, Taurus. It could be around this time that you started dating somebody new, or a new love interest appears. The ruler of this new moon is Mercury, and Mercury is in Libra. So for you, that is to do with the 6th house. You might be revisiting something because Mercury is in shadow. You might be starting to reconsider or rethink anything to do with work or anything to do with health. And this is positively trining Mars. So perhaps for some of you, you're picking up an old job that you used to do, or you're picking up an old exercise that you used to do, an old goal that you used to have, and it's actually going to give you that confidence that maybe you're feeling a little bit is lacking or is frustrating with this new beginning that you're trying to have, romantically speaking, or creativity, or to do with your children. It feels like if you pick up something to do with your health or your well-being that you used to do, or your work that you used to do, or an old job or something like this, it can actually be really good for you, Taurus, in terms of feeling more confident, and also just feeling a little bit more connected to your spiritual side, with Pluto being in Capricorn there in this fancy trine. So let's get an oracle card for you, Taurus, and see what we get. Ooh, the compass. True north. Well, the north node is in your sign, so this is definitely factoring in. The North Node is still in that conjunction with Uranus in your sign as well. So a lot of you are really facing your true north. And in facing your true north, perhaps some of your values are shifting. Perhaps the way that you make money is changing. Perhaps the way that you spend money is changing. But this is really leaning into who you are, I think, in a way that makes you happy. So this new moon is an opportunity for you to figure out how to incorporate a bit more happiness, or perhaps there is something coming up around this time that is going to make you happy, or has the potential to make you happy, Taurus. Be that a new love interest, be that dating, be that getting really into art, painting, drawing, creating music. With the square to Mars, it's almost like the thing that's holding you back is perhaps confidence, perhaps it's self-worth. And as I say, the best way that you can get that is by doing something for your health and your well-being. That's going to add a positive trine to your money and your confidence. So that is what I have for you, Taurus. I do hope you have a beautiful new moon. Don't forget that this new moon is in an earth sign, so it's adding a lovely cosmic friendship to you. Just want to mention ever so slightly actually before you go that of course Uranus is in your sign and it is squaring off Venus, and it is squaring off Saturn as well. So you have these tense energies coming in from your ruling planet, and Venus is of course going to be in Leo, which is your 4th house of home and family, and then Aquarius, Saturn going through Aquarius, is your 10th house of status. So there could be a little bit of push and pull, or a need for balance, or a need for reconfiguration, which is perhaps the compass, to do with your home life and your career life. The time you spend at home versus the time you spend at work. You could find work quite restrictive at this time, or maybe your reputation is quite restrictive and you would really rather be spending it at home. Or you actually might find, because of the square, that home is a little bit suffocating at the moment and you want to be out there. So whatever it is that's going on for you at this time, Taurus, make sure that you are focusing on fun, enjoyment, and maybe adding a little bit of pleasure and luxury to your life, because when you do that, it will make you much happier. And this new moon wants you to figure out that fun and pleasure is very healthy for you, and you need to bring a little bit more of it into your life. So that's what I have for you, Taurus. I'll talk to you soon. Hi Gemini, Sun, Moon and Rising. Gemini, this new moon is happening for you in your 4th house of home, family and property matters. It is squaring Mars in your 1st house of self. So Gemini, this is interesting because with Mars being in your sign, you could be feeling a bit more confrontational. You could be feeling a bit more frantic. You could be feeling a bit more revved up, or you could actually be feeling kind of exhausted. Mars typically goes both ways. You're either feeling super revved up, and when you feel super revved up, sometimes it can make you feel quite anxious, and sometimes when you're anxious that can make you angry or frustrated or snappy, or it could be making you feel a little bit dulled down. Now what you do with the energy, because the energy is cranked up, how you use it is how this goes for you. So that could be that you're using this energy, you're getting the excess out by going for a run, or you're getting the excess out by writing furiously the next big crime novel, or you are listening to your body when you're feeling tired and maybe cutting out the caffeine a little bit. Mars is in your 1st house, so what you're doing with your energy matters. There is a beautiful new beginning here in your home, family and property sector. So for a lot of you, this could be that you are moving, this could be that you're getting a home, this could be that you're changing up your home. Perhaps it's because you're realizing with Mars in your sign that you don't feel like it's reflecting you, like it doesn't feel like you. You're looking at your wallpaper and thinking, this isn't me anymore, I've changed, I want to tear it all down and paint it a different color. It can be that kind of energy. And as I said before in the other video, if you've watched it about the new moon in general, there can be an impulsiveness with this new moon that doesn't necessarily go very well, so you might regret it if you're too impulsive with the changes that you are making. But I do think for a lot of you there's a real focus here on spending time with your family or spending time at home, perhaps even reconnecting a little bit with family, or maybe making amends with family in that sense, because Mercury is going to go retrograde in September and then retrograde back into your home and family sector. So it could be for a lot of you Geminis that you need to figure out a new way of working with your family or your roommates or your home that feels more fair, feels more balanced. Mercury, the ruler of this new moon, and also your ruler, is in Libra, forming a trine with Mars in your sign. I do think for a lot of you could be talking to somebody romantically that's quite exciting at this time. Also, a lot of you could be finding a lot of messaging and joy and happiness in music or art. So a lot of you could be creating something at this time, or you could just find that you're coming across a song that really reflects your mood, or you're coming across a song that really makes you feel energized, makes you feel alive, makes you feel happy. You know, when you just every so often come across a song that you want to listen to on repeat until you've grown sick of it, or maybe that's just me, but it's kind of that, really connecting with music, really connecting with art, really feeling very inspired creatively if you are a creative, or maybe even having really exciting romantic conversations or flirtations at this time. or if you're in a relationship, having more romantic conversations or injecting a little bit more romance into your life, or something that you used to do together that you want to do together again. So yes, that's what I'm seeing for you, Gemini. It seems to be a big focus on home and family, and focusing on your living space and how you feel about your living space as well. Let's get a card for you. Ooh, the ring. Nice. It looks like you guys are wanting to commit to something. This could be committing to property, committing to maybe a relationship. This looks like commitment to me, Gemini, so that's quite exciting. It looks like you're committing to something. Maybe some of you are actually getting engaged. But the ring typically just symbolizes commitment. So with this being in your home and property sector, you could be signing a lease, you could be signing a mortgage, something like this, or you could be deepening your connections in some way, Gemini. So that's all I have for you. I'll talk to you soon. Bye. Hi Cancer, Sun, Moon and Rising. So Cancer, this is happening in your 3rd house. There is a new beginning in your sector of communication, conversation, neighbours and siblings, and your car and your transport. So for a lot of you, this could be a new car. For others of you, there could be important news coming in around this time. There could be important letters to be sent or received. This could be a time when you're revisiting a conversation, or, you know, because Mercury's in shadow, this could be a time when you're actually signing something as well. This could also be a time when you get a new gadget. If you are getting a new gadget, just do read the fine print, because the 3rd house, I find, is often very associated with technological things. But with Mercury being in shadow, just make sure that you are reading the fine print, the warranties, the insurance, and you're not being signed up to anything that maybe you don't actually want to sign up to. So just be extra careful if you are signing anything. If there are letters coming through, conversations to be had, the devil is in the detail with this, so just make sure that you are paying attention. Also with this maybe being a new car, the same goes. Make sure that you're doing your research, make sure that you are reading between the lines, make sure that you know the fine print, you know your rights, all that sort of stuff. So there is a new beginning to be had there. This might also mark a new beginning in a relationship with a sibling or a neighbour. Mars is in your 12th house, and it's going to be in your 12th house for a very long time, and it is squaring this new moon. So what does that mean? Well, with Mars being in your 12th house, sometimes, well, typically where Mars goes, it can give you a lot of energy, which means you can actually get quite a lot done. You can make a lot of progress. That's the good stuff. The not so good stuff, but also has its merits, is the fact that Mars can bring up frustrations in this area. And sometimes Mars can be kind of aggressive about it, and sometimes Mars can be a bit of a dick about it, I have to be honest. So what this means for you is that Mars here, it might, if you have some healing to be done, if you have something embedded in your system, something traumatic that is stuck there, is lodged, or is causing you to self-sabotage or do things that you wouldn't usually do, or get yourself into situations that you really shouldn't be in, if it's all coming from this place of trauma, which usually those type of things are, Mars has this way of bringing it up in a nightmare, like in a dream. Or it can generate this sense of unrest where you just feel a bit off and you know it's something, or you notice a pattern as well as forming that you're doing and you feel a bit on edge. That's what Mars in the 12th can do. Sometimes it can also make you realize who's maybe not so much on your side that you thought was on your side. That can sometimes be the sucky part of Mars going through the 12th. And because it's going to be squaring the Virgo placements this month, you might notice that more by what people are telling you or what people are saying. At the same time, there is the potential for miscommunication. So the good part of this is that if you have stuff that is stuffed down, that is lodged down, you might find that it's actually better to know. See, with the 12th house, it can be painful, but it's always better to know. And that's why the 12th house exists, because once you realize what's going on in there, once you realize what's going on within you, it actually means that you can work on it. And this new moon wants to fix things. So you might actually be having some very interesting psychological insights. And when you realize them, it means they're not going to keep repeating as patterns that are unhealthy for you. So with this new moon, the best thing that you can do for yourself is to talk, is to express yourself, is to be open, is to be communicative with people you trust, or with, a therapist or anybody. Practice discussing things, that are going on within you if you're not so inclined. This can be reaching out for help with somebody, but it doesn't have to be as intense as that. It can just be deciding that you're going to tell someone, you know, that you want to open up more. You want to discuss things more. You want to be more communicative with the third house, and that can be your sort of practice for the next 6 months or so, is opening up more or having more conversations. It might also be with the Mars here that you could actually fix something with a sibling or a neighbor or a close friend where there has been some kind of severance or discord. And you might notice that maybe some of that has come from a subconscious fear of yours. So Mars going through the 12th house might sound like the short end of the stick, but it's actually not, because it can really push you to do some healing, and it can really push you to get some stuff up. And you know, where Mars goes, as I say, it can bring about the type of energy that we want. So for you, this could actually be a very healing time. This could be a time when you make a lot of headway in your subconscious. This might also be a time where if you're working on something behind the scenes, you get a lot done. Like, you get a lot of that done, especially if you're writing, because with this new moon Cancer, for you being in your third house, this is a wonderful time to start a new writing project. And it's also a wonderful new time to begin learning something new, especially if you're leaning towards learning something new that is to do with healing or the healing arts or medicine, or something like that, Cancer. Wonderful time to start a new book. It is also a wonderful time for conversations in general to come up. As I say, there's a potential for bitchiness with this particular new moon. That's the lower vibrational energy. The higher vibrational energy is, how can we fix this? So what is going on for Cancer? The magnifying glass, looking at things more closely, looking at the details. Need I say more? That is what I have for you, Cancer. I hope you have a beautiful new moon, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye. Hi Leo, Sun, Moon and Rising. So Leo, this new moon, this new beginning is happening for you in your sector of finances, your money, your income, gifts as well. So with this new moon, Leo, it's likely around this time that you may discover a new way of working with your finances. You might get very organized with your finances. You may be practicing or be thinking more about good financial hygiene, checking your credit score. You might be setting up a new bank account. You might be opening up a savings account, or you might be beginning a new way of making money at this time, Leo. Now, this new moon is square Mars in Gemini, meaning that your ruler, the Sun, is also squaring Mars at this time. Mars, wherever Mars is, there can be a sense of frustration. Sometimes there can be a sense of anger. Sometimes there can be a real push to get things done. And sometimes there can be brilliant drive and a lot of progress. So for you, it's happening in your sector of wishes, your long-term goals, your aspirations, and your friendships. So in some regards, Leo, this can cause a bit of discord with your friendships for the next 7 months. Perhaps they annoy you more, because where Mars goes, it can show us what's annoying us. Perhaps you could be frustrated with how quickly or how slowly or a wish or a goal is being achieved, or a manifestation is being achieved. With Mars being in the 11th house, sometimes things can manifest like that once you set your mind to it, and sometimes it can also feel, particularly between October and January, that perhaps it's slowing down a little bit. With you, Leo, with this new moon, focus on your money, focus on your finances, focus on the gifts that you possess as well, the things that you have, and how to better organize this and how to better grow and develop this. Because in 6 months' time, the full moon that corresponds with this new moon is going to be trine Uranus in Taurus, which is your 10th house. So the work that you're doing, the money that you're saving, the habits that you're taking on at this time can actually really grow your money and also grow your reputation 6 months down the line. So the habits that you're taking now in terms of your finances, in terms of your money, are very important. Now, it might be that you're trying to save for something, or you're trying to be more frugal, and perhaps you have a friend that is pushing you to go out all the time, or is a friend that wants you to do this, that, or whatever, and you're finding them kind of draining. It can be that kind of tension that comes up around this time, or you might be kind of frustrated with a goal and you might be tempted to just throw money at it. Take your time with that decision, Leo. Do take your time with that, because your money is a big focus for the next month. and your finances, and you can make a lot of progress there. Mercury that rules this new moon is in Libra, which is in your 3rd house, meaning that you may be hearing from an old neighbor, you may be reconnecting with a sibling, or you might have a conversation comes up with a friend where you need to address something or you need to revisit something. Let's see. The clouds. Okay. That's interesting. It feels like something's being cleared. It feels as though for you, Leo, something is being cleared. I feel you're getting very clear in your finances, especially if they've been stormy, or if you feel like things have been a little bit stormy or a little bit intense. It feels like things are clearing. Venus is in your sign at the time of this new moon and is opposite Saturn in your 7th house, meaning that your relationship with yourself versus your relationship with your partner is being exacerbated at this time. There may be some things that need to be balanced, particularly if it is to do with your public status and your career or the way you present yourself to the world, because it is going to be squaring Uranus as well. Uranus being in your 10th house, so it might be around this time you feel like you're not being appreciated, you feel like you're not being seen, you feel like you're not being understood. And the best thing that you can do at this time, Leo, is focus on what you can grow. Focus on what it is that you can tend to get your finances in order, get your values in order as well. And that is where your priority should be, focusing on what matters to you most, what your morals are, what your values are, what your perspectives are, and how your money is going. That is where you should be putting your attention, Leo. So that is what I have for you. I hope you have a beautiful new moon. Talk to you soon. Bye. Hi Virgo, Sun, Moon and Rising. So Virgo, you are the star of the show for this new moon. It's happening in your 1st house of self, personal goals, and also your self-image. So for a lot of you at this time, Virgo, you may be deciding that you would like to change something in terms of your appearance. Perhaps you would like to change your hair, perhaps you would like to get some new clothes, perhaps you would like to change up your style a little bit, or perhaps you have a new personal goal at this time, something about yourself that you're focusing on, something you would like to do for yourself, something you would like to achieve for yourself with nobody else in mind. This is primarily about, it's purely about you, what it is you would like for yourself. This is a great time to check in with yourself because it is your 1st house season, which for some of you that are Virgo suns, of course, this is birthday time. So you may be deciding around this new moon that there's something you would like to try in your life, something you've not tried before, something you'd like to invite in. And this could be entirely personal, maybe something you wanted to do for a while, or maybe something that you're just realizing around the time of your birthday or just the season in general that you believe would be quite true to who you are, because we don't always do things in life that are true to who we are, what we'd actually really like to do. And so for you, this might be time when you think, I want to give this a go. I wanted to do this for a while. Or you want to pick up something that you used to do because your ruler Mercury is in shadow. Now, your ruler Mercury at this time is trine Mars in Gemini. So for you, Virgo, with this new moon, with your ruler in harmonious alignment with not only Mars, but also Pluto, there is this sense of getting very clear about your values. With Mercury being in Libra, this is a time when you can get very clear about what it is that matters to you, what it is that is important to you. And with its trine to Mars in Gemini, Gemini being your career sector, your public image, and how you show up to the world, what it is that you present to the world, and then also Pluto being in your sector of romance, fun, pleasure. It feels to me, Virgo, like you're getting a lot of clarity on what it is that matters most to you in terms of career, in terms of public image, but also in terms of fun, in terms of pleasure. And maybe you're aligning with people around this time that can help you with that, that can give you that. Now, Mars is in your career sector for a pretty long time. Mars is going to be in Gemini for 7 months. So with Mars being in your career sector for that long, it's important to remember around this time, because it is aspecting this new moon, it's important to remember around this time that there's going to be a lot of action here in your career sector, in your public image. If you don't work, if you're retired, like if you've done your work, this can be to do with personal goals. This can be to do with things that you want to do outside of work. You know, it doesn't have to be the job that you do. This can actually be your callings in life that aren't to do with the work that you do. You know, philanthropy, or perhaps goals or giving back, or something you want to be known for, legacy, what you want to be remembered as. That sounds a bit morbid, but you know what I mean? Like the 10th house is all about your career, reputation. There can be some tension with authority. You can feel like maybe your boss doesn't see you for who you truly are. You can feel like people are being harsher on you with Mars being there. It can also be that your boss you're finding is incredibly irritating and inadequate. This might be a time when you just find that people are challenging your authority, and you're just feeling a little bit like, no, this is not what I signed up for. You're just finding maybe people in positions of power a bit more aggravating or confrontational, or if you're in a position of power, perhaps you're finding it more challenging. But there's also a sense here, Virgo, that you could actually be very busy career-wise over the next 7 months, and this new moon is saying to you, hey, work, career, what you're giving back to you can be really busy. We need to make sure that physically you're ready for this. We need to make sure that you have something in place that is for you, that is going to help you unwind, that is going to help you feel better, it's going to help you feel good, help you feel like yourself. So the habits that you do now, Virgo, can really keep you sane as work or your goals, and maybe your parents or maybe people in positions of authority are all keeping you really very busy for the next 7 months. This is a great time to incorporate your personal goals and your personal wants and focus on you, because you are a service sign and you do give so much and you love to give, and it's part of your nature to be giving and of service. But now is a really good time to focus on what you would like to give to yourself, what you would like to give to you, what you would like to do for yourself. It might also be that perhaps you are getting a real confidence boost from changing your image somewhat. You're trying new style, getting some new clothes, getting some new shoes, something like that. Really changing up your image a little bit, but really focusing on your personal goals, Virgo. At the same time, we do have this opposition going on between Venus in your 12th house and Saturn in your 6th. So with that being said, it might be at this time that socially you could be feeling a little bit more introverted, you could be feeling a little bit more quiet, you might want to spend more time alone, and you could feel like your colleagues are needing a lot of help at this time, or the people that you work with, and you might actually be feeling, with Venus and Saturn, I have to say, you could be feeling a bit burnt out. So I would say around this time, focus very heavily on self-care, because that's your health axis. So you could be feeling a bit run down, a bit tired, and you need to figure out ways that makes you feel good and things that will make you feel good, Virgo. So, lilies. I love this. Beautiful. The lilies are very mature. It's a very mature energy. So with Mars being in your 10th for a long time, you could be dealing with older people, or people that have a lot of life experience, or people that are in positions of authority quite highly, particularly around this time. The lilies can also be indicative, of very solid relationships. So it's maybe saying to you, Virgo, that, you know, within 2 weeks, there is going to be a full moon in your relationship sector, and Mercury is going to be in retrograde in your sign. Perhaps in terms of relationships, it's worth, you know, thinking about what it is that you want, figuring out what you're giving, figuring out how the relationship's going. I do think for a lot of you, this could be a sign of maybe reconnecting or connecting with someone on a deeper level. Maybe you are reconnecting with an old partner, or maybe in your current relationship, there is a little bit more focus coming up for you. With the lilies. The lilies can also be a sign of receiving a gift around the time of this new moon. So that could be a birthday gift for some of you with the lilies card. I do love the lilies card. It's a very mature, very wise, and very stable energy. So perhaps you or someone else around you is giving that to yourself. So that's what I have for you, Virgo. I hope you have a beautiful new moon. Happy birthday. And I'll talk to you soon. Bye. Hi Libra, Sun, Moon and Rising. Libra, this new moon is happening in your 12th house, meaning that there is a new beginning in your sector of healing, of the subconscious, of your mental health, and also the sector of letting go and your dream state. So Libra, around this time, you could be having some very interesting dreams. The ruler of this new moon is actually in your sign. So and in shadow. So a lot of you could be having some very interesting dreams around this time, and a lot of you could be dreaming about perhaps people from the past or people that you once knew, experiences from the past. You could also be dreaming about personal goals, what it is that you would like to achieve. You could be rethinking this at this time. So with the ruler of this new moon being in your sign, there is a little bit of gearing up to the full-blown retrograde in your sign, where you start to revisit your own goals. And again, perhaps for some of you, past partnerships, because the retrograde in your sign, and I will get more into this in the Full Moon in Pisces video, it is going to oppose Jupiter in your 7th house. So in terms of relationships in general, there can be people from the past. There can also be revisiting old issues with current relationships. So that is something to bear in mind. It's a very good time around this new moon to engage in some kind of new meditative, spiritual, healing practice. So if you're not someone that meditates, perhaps you'll start taking up meditation, not a doctor. Perhaps you'll take up meditation, perhaps you will take up breath work, perhaps you'll be taking up something very healing, maybe seeing a therapist. It's like you're getting your mental and emotional hygiene in check. Even if you're someone who's already doing these things, there might be something new that's coming in for you that's going to be really beneficial for your mental and emotional well-being, Libra. And this can be in the form of learning about these things or researching these things. Maybe you're actually beginning around this time a research project or something you want to begin behind the scenes that you don't want anybody to know about yet. So that is where there's this new beginning happening for you. There is a square to Mars, and Mars is in Gemini, which for you is very much to do with the way that you view the world, your higher self, your consciousness. It is your worldview. It can be your political view. It can be your religious view, your spiritual view. It can be your philosophical view. These perspectives. It can also be, if you're in university or in college, it can be to do with matters related to that area. It can be related to travel. So in the next 9 months, you more than anybody could find yourself doing a bit of traveling, studying. Perhaps some of you are in a very important university year, like you're doing a master's or you're in your first year or something like this. It feels like a lot of you are going to be really expanding yourself. And this can be a source of frustration. So if anybody is going to be finding themselves in political debates or philosophical debates that get a bit tense, it's probably you. But luckily for you, you're a Libra and you're great at debates and you're great at keeping the peace. You're great at being the mediator. So the way that I'm seeing this for you, Libra, is that there is this need for a new beginning, a new mental health practice, a new emotional well-being practice, new healing practice, especially if your dreams are a bit funny and are trying to tell you something. But there is this sense that there's a bit of frustration, maybe in terms of travel or in terms of your worldview, your political view, your religious view. It's almost like maybe at this time you could be getting yourself into a confrontation and then you realize that something about it that triggered you is actually to do with something else. So you start to think, well, maybe I need to start taking up meditation, maybe I need to start getting more sleep, something like this. It's almost like something could trigger you in a debate or maybe even traveling, and you realize that I need to slow down and bring in some sort of coping mechanism, or it's maybe showing you something within you that's been triggering yourself. Okay, Libra, so let's get you an oracle card. Brilliant time to take up something spiritual. So if you are looking to try something new, like breath work or meditation or yoga or something like this, it's a great time to start a new habit. It really is for you, Libra. So let's see what we can get. Oh, the man. I think I'm bearing his pecs. We have the man card. So for a lot of you, a lot of you, this could be perhaps a male figure being very key in your life at this time, Libra. Your ruler Venus being in Leo, being in your 11th house and being opposite Saturn in your 5th house, there could be a little bit of flirtation going on, maybe with a friend, maybe online. If you're single, this could indicate a new romantic interest popping into your life, or maybe someone that you once dated. But it signifies for a lot of you that there could be a male that's very key at this time. I'm just going to give you a clarifier. Funny, because Aries got the woman. Ooh, the snake. Oh. Okay. With Mercury in your sign in shadow, I think a lot of you could be feeling kind of suspicious of other people, or you could be trying to figure out who you trust. Sometimes the 12th house is to do with hidden enemies. So maybe for some of you, you are feeling a bit suspicious, or maybe you are communicating with someone who hurt you before, or maybe there was bruised or broken trust before. Some of you could be communicating with somebody like that and you don't know whether or not you can trust them or not. This can be with the snake, a shedding of the skin, transformation, death and rebirth kind of energy. So somebody could be re-emerging from your past, or it could be you if you are male here. This is very intriguing. Yeah, there seems to be a key male in your life, and I feel like either you have changed in your relationship to them or they've changed in their relationship. There's a shedding of skin, and there's a consideration about trust with this. That's really interesting, Libra. New moon's in the 12th house. There can be soulmate relationships, and soulmates don't have to be someone you stay with forever. I don't mean it like that. It can be someone that you have karma with, or some sort of inexplicable attraction to or relationship with. So that's really interesting. Do let me know if that resonates with you and what it means for you. So that is what I have for you, Libra. I hope you have a beautiful new moon, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye. Hi Scorpio, sun, moon or rising. So Scorpio, this new moon is happening in your sector of groups, networking, friendships, wishes, aspirations. So there's a new beginning happening for you here, Scorpio. This could actually be for you quite a social time. This could be a time when you're spending a bit of time with your group of friends, or you're meeting new friends at this time, or you're meeting new groups, new communities. You are connecting with others. Perhaps you are expanding on social media. Perhaps you're networking in LinkedIn or something like that. Or perhaps you're connecting with people that can help you with your goals. So this new moon could bring in, for a lot of Scorpios, new friendships, new groups, new social circles. Or it could be a time when you're spending more time with your friends, or you're networking, you're connecting with others basically at this time, Scorpio. There is a new beginning here. So I do think for a lot of you, within the next 6 months, your social circle is expanding. You are wanting to connect with different types of people. It's very likely that at least, Scorpio, there is a new friend on the horizon for you. It can also be because Mercury is in shadow and we'll go retrograde and retrograde back into the sector. It can be for you that you do reconnect with old friends at this time as well. You might hear from an old friend, you might hear from an old connection of yours as well. So maybe somebody reaches out to you on social media that you used to communicate with frequently, or you used to have a friendship with, and it dwindled, and now it's reappearing in the next couple of weeks. Mars is in Gemini. So Mars is your traditional ruler. It's going to be in Gemini for 7 months. And where Mars is can bring a bit of frustration, it can bring a bit of tension, it can bring a lot of action. So for you, Scorpio, with this being your 8th house, I do feel for a lot of you, this could be very psychological in nature. So this might be a time where you are realizing or recognizing a lot of triggers within yourself, a lot of fears, a lot of phobias, and they can come to the fore, and they can come to the fore in anger. So it might be that you're feeling a bit more angry than usual at times, depending when it's triggered, and this maybe comes out and it's directed at your friends, or it's directed at your social circle, or it's directed at a group of people. And really what it's coming from, or maybe it's even directed at a long-term wish or aspiration, really where it's coming from is a fear, is a trauma, and it's a trigger. Mars being here means that you can do tremendous work with a therapist, with a psychologist, with even just researching or reading about traumas and transformations and things like this. With it being the 8th house, it's very familiar to you, and this is also your traditional ruler. So this is a time when you can make so much progress in terms of working through some phobias, some fears, some things that maybe put you on edge basically, or freak you out basically. So I'm sort of saying for the next 7 months for you, Scorpio, you can make a lot of headway there, but it can be that you feel kind of triggered by something, and you may be directed at a group, or maybe you have a bit of frustration with your friends at this time, or maybe they're getting the brunt of your anger at something. But the beautiful thing about this, Scorpio, is that Mercury, being the ruler of this new moon, is actually trining Mars. And Mercury is in your 12th house, trining Mars in your 8th house, and it's also trining your ruler Pluto. So both your rulers, traditional and current, like modern rulers, are both getting trines from the rulers of this new moon. And the ruler of this new moon is in your 12th house. This can be a time where friends, groups, networking, it can actually all be very healing for you. With Mercury being in the 12th house, trining Mars in your 8th house, this can be a beautiful time to talk about some of the things that are getting to you or frustrating you or you're scared of. It can be a time where you actually embrace vulnerability, and perhaps you're opening up to new people, or you're coming into contact with people who can help you or who can help you heal, basically. You know, you could learn something from a friend at this time, or you could be engaging in types of group therapy, like going to a breathwork session, for example, or going to a joint yoga class or something like this, and healing with groups of people. So this might be a time when you really connect with groups that can help you heal, and you can make a lot of headway in the next 6 months or so, Scorpio. But for the purposes of this new moon, I do think a lot of you could be making new friends, connecting with a soul tribe. Something like that is sort of what I'm seeing for you. Time spent with groups of people and friendships. We have the Coffin card, which is number 8. I do think for a lot of you, this could be something you have buried, or something that has really, there's something that's been buried or has caused you a lot of pain or a lot of grief coming up with this Coffin card. Maybe a fear, maybe a phobia, something that has been buried. Ooh, the broom. If you're born on the 8th of November, this is particularly for you. If you happen to be born the 11th of August and you're a Leo with a Scorpio rising, this is particularly for you. But I do think for a lot of you, you're possibly with Mars in the 8th house, you're possibly using exercise as a way to work through something psychological, and it's sort of saying to you that that works to an extent, but there might also be some stuff to address. I also feel like a lot of you could be with this broom and this Coffin card really clearing out some phobias, some fears, some things internally that are holding you back. Those are both kind of scary cards, I'm not going to lie, so I'm going to give you a clarifier, Scorpio. The polar bear. The polar bear is so cute and so dangerous. Okay, just like you. Okay, so the polar bear is kind of giving me this tribal vibe. So I do think this is saying to you that you can find working with groups of people, bonding with groups of people, embracing new friendships very healing for you, rather than perhaps focusing on what's annoying you about friends and groups. I just feel like with Mars going through the 8th house for so long, it is a time to make amazing headway with your, not your subconscious so much, but your fears, your phobias, anything that is triggering to you, Scorpio. And you love that stuff. You gravitate towards that stuff. You're good at that stuff. You have that fearlessness. So I do think with the Mars energy here, the fact that it's squaring in, I do think it's encouraging a lot of you, before you get angry, before you react, to ask yourself, what is this really about? And I do think with the coffin and the broomstick, there might be a matter or a person or something comes up from the past that you thought was dead, that was not. So that is what I have for you, Scorpio. And the broom is about clearing that up. That's what I have for you. I hope you have a beautiful new moon, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye. Hi Sagittarius, welcome to the new moon in Virgo for your sign. So Sagittarius, this new moon is happening in your sector of career and reputation. So for a lot of you, this could be that you are starting a new job. It could be that you're embarking on a new career. It could be that you have a new goal that you would like to achieve, something you would like to add to your legacy, something that you would like the public to know, something that you would like the public to think of you. And you're going to be working towards that for the next 6 months. And you're figuring out the different habits that you need to do, the way that you need to make this happen, the details, how to organize it so that you can achieve this, or you can make this the best new beginning possible in your career, in your reputation, in your goals. So that's great. The ruler of this new moon is in your 11th house, which is to do with networking. Now, because Mercury is in shadow here, there is potential, Sagittarius, to reconnect with old friends, old peers, old groups of people, old social networks. You could reconnect with people that can actually help you with what you're trying to achieve. Mercury is in this trine energy with Mars in your 7th house and also Pluto, which is actually in Capricorn. So it's not an air sign, but it is trining the Mercury. And Capricorn for you is to do with your finances. So it can be at this time that you're reconnecting with people that can really help you achieve your goals, but it can also be that you're reconnecting maybe with people online that you might actually, if you're single, start to see as a partnership potential. Or it might be that you are meeting somebody through a friend that could be partnership potential. If you're in a relationship, I'm not gonna lie, Mars being in your 7th house for 7 months is very spicy, I guess, but also kind of frustrating. Where Mars is can bring frustrations and tensions, so you might just find your partner a bit more irritating at times, or you might find them a bit more confrontational at times, or there could be some issues crop up from time to time. But this can also be a time where your partnership dominates a lot of your time for the next 7 months too. Or your business colleague, your business partnerships, or your best friend, you know, your relationships are going to be taking a lot of your energy and a lot of your potential for the next 7 months. If you're single for the next 7 months, there's actually a really good opportunity to meet somebody because Mars is going to be there for a very long time. And Mars is squaring this new moon. So it might be you have a new career goal, you have a new goal, you have a new ambition, you've decided on something. It might be that you're finding your partner is not in agreement with it, isn't supportive of it, or is just not liking it. Or it might be that you have a goal, and if you're single, you're feeling like your relationships are maybe just not where you want them to be, like you don't have the relationship you want, or you're feeling a little bit out in the cold with that. So you could be feeling a little bit frustrated with relationships. It doesn't have to be a partner romantically, it can be a best friend, it can be contracts. But the key is not to blow your top and explode on your relationships. It really wants you to focus on your goals and what this is going to look like long-term, Sagittarius. So there is a big focus with this new moon for you on your long-term goals and who you're becoming, who you want to be, how you want to show up to the world. We have the letter cards. Okay, I just noticed that the date September 19th is on this. So that could be significant for you. This is very likely that there's going to be some kind of news around this time. You could be receiving a letter, a text, some kind of message, or you could be sending one that's quite important. So it feels like there's an important communication around this time for you, like a letter, a DM, modern day letters. A DM just is so not as romantic as a letter. It could be a DM or an email or a letter in the post. Something could be coming to you around this time that's really kind of important, Sagittarius, or you could be sending something that's quite important via the mail or online. It feels like there is an important communication. And I just noticed the compass is underneath, so this could be something kind of destined, like perhaps you're applying for your dream job, or perhaps you're getting a letter of recommendation, or perhaps you're getting a referral, or perhaps you're being recruited for something you really wanted, or perhaps you're signing on the dotted line. Bear in mind, Mercury's in shadow. Do read the fine print. If you do need to sign something, even still, it is better to sign it before the 10th of September. That is all I have for you, Sagittarius. I'll talk to you soon. Bye. Hi Capricorn, Sun, Moon and Rising. So Capricorn, I am losing my voice. Capricorn, this new moon is happening for you in your 9th house, which is to do with your higher belief system, religion, philosophy, politics, your worldview. This can be to do with your spiritual beliefs in general. It can also be to do with university and higher education. If you are in university or higher education, there could be some kind of new beginning happening here in these areas. Perhaps you are incorporating something quite spiritual or something quite philosophical into your day-to-day life. Perhaps you are learning something new. Perhaps you are deciding you want to take a course, or you want to study something, or perhaps you are planning a trip at this time somewhere that you really want to go. I think for the most part, this is trying to incorporate something into your life, Capricorn, that is going to make you feel expansive. It's going to be adventurous. It's something that you will feel opens your mind and broadens your horizons. It's a sense of adventure. You're trying to incorporate something into your life that gives you that feeling. So it could be traveling for a lot of you, planning a trip. Now, with Mars being in your sector of work, health, for the next 7 months, it feels, Capricorn, as though around the time of this new moon, the habits that you're taking on spiritually should in some way take into account how you're going to feel in your day-to-day life. So perhaps you're taking on something quite spiritual, like you're trying meditation every day, or you're trying something that is, maybe you're trying to incorporate a bit more of a philosophical or optimistic approach into your life. And with Mars being in your 6th house for an extended period of time, this can mean that there can be frustrations in work, frustrations with colleagues, frustrations with your employees even. And it's sometimes as well, there can be some stress with your health. With Mars being here, that's not to scare you or anything. It can just mean that your energy runs lower. You can feel tired because the energy with Mars can get really amped up. And if we don't channel it correctly, it can then drain us. Like we can run out effectively before we've realized it. So it's all about how you work with the energy. So on one hand, with Mars being here for so long, it's a wonderful time for you to commit to some kind of fitness goal or working on your health, especially if you're looking to take up an active sport like weight training or running, or a competitive sport like tennis or something like this. And you're looking as a way to channel that excess energy. So because it's squaring this new moon, and this new moon is in such an expansive place, it's almost like if you take on something spiritual or a higher perspective, it can really help you out with the tension that you're feeling at work, or the tension that you're feeling in your body, or the tension that you're feeling health-wise even. So while there is this kind of squared energy coming in from Mars, you can really utilize that to channel it in a way that is better for your body and also better for your well-being, your mental well-being, and also in work. You can be super productive with your work. But you have to avoid burnout at the same time with Mars there. And I just think with this new moon, there is a sense of perhaps if you incorporate something a bit more spiritual, a bit more open-minded, or maybe even planning a holiday in the middle of all this, this is going to help you prevent burnout, basically, is what I'm seeing for you, Capricorn. The ruler of this new moon is in a lovely trine with Mars in your health and work sector, which is really interesting because Mercury is going to be in your 10th house. So because Mercury is in your 10th house, it might be that in terms of career, in terms of authority figures, in terms of bosses, in terms of reputation, with Mercury being in shadow, it's like you're sort of starting to reevaluate things. You're starting to look backwards a little bit. What used to work? What did I stop doing? Why did I stop doing that when it worked? What was this goal? What was this job? And what about it was working for me? And then sort of incorporate that into your day-to-day work, and perhaps even your health, and how this is going to make you a better version of yourself. That's the broader picture of what I'm seeing for you, Capricorn. It is asking you to incorporate some new beliefs or some new open-minded philosophical practice, or something that's a little bit outside the box in terms of your thinking. If you're, as I say, this can be something quite practical, like university, you're starting a new course, you're starting a new college or something like this, or there can be a new beginning there. If you are, again, be wary of burnout around this time, because perhaps you're going to want to do something really impulsive to get off to a really good start, and you burn yourself out instantly, or you injure yourself or something like this. New beginnings that are happening around this time, take it slow, even if you feel like you want to plow forward. So Capricorn, let's give you a card. Ooh, the compass. Who else got this? Somebody else got this. This is about, oh, it was Taurus. This is about facing your true north. This is about destiny. This is about figuring out a direction. And it really does give me 9th house vibes. You know, that higher philosophical perspective, this This searching for answers outside of ourselves, outside of the norm, outside of the ordinary. What does it all mean? Pondering the bigger questions, thinking about different religions, different perspectives. I could go on. It's about seeing the higher perspective in terms of your destiny. Perhaps it is around this time that there is somewhere you want to go as well. And this compass on a map is about telling you where you want to go. Perhaps it's showing up everywhere. Perhaps you're getting signs of where it is that you want to go, like adverts targeted at a particular place, and you're thinking, I actually really feel called there. Check out your astrocartography and see if it's a match. That is what I have for you, Capricorn. I hope you have a beautiful new moon, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye. Hi Aquarius, Sun, Moon and Rising. So Aquarius, this new moon is bringing in a new beginning in your 8th house. So the 8th house can be, or it is, quite a psychological house because it is linked to our fears, our phobias. It is also linked to what we most need to transform, what we most need to overcome. It can also be related to other people's money and finances surrounding other people and our intimate relationships with other people, particularly where we are connected financially to another person. So interpersonal financial relationships, there can be a new beginning in any of these areas around this time. So perhaps you are deciding that you want to start some psychological work on yourself. Perhaps you're wanting to start seeing a psychotherapist or a psychiatrist, or you're wanting to work on some traumas, or you're wanting to work on a phobia. With the Virgo new moon, it is time we want to fix things. So for you, perhaps you want to fix something related to a phobia or a fear, or you want to try some sort of therapy or healing that is going to help you conquer something traumatic. It can also be around this time that there's something to do with other people's money, so there can be a new beginning in your relationship with someone that you're connected to financially or on an intimate level. There can be some kind of new beginning there with the 8th house. The 8th house is kind of broad in that sense because it can range from our psychology right to our relationships with money. Perhaps this is to do with taxes, perhaps this is to do with money that you owe someone or money that someone owes you, and there's a new beginning or a new start or news or something happening there. But I do think for a lot of you, this could be a psychological new beginning in a way that you work with your psychology or an interest there. This could also be where you develop a new interest or have some kind of new beginning in the occult, in what is considered taboo. So perhaps you start reading runes or tarot cards, or you start learning astrology, or you start learning psychology as well. It can be that you really want to get your mind engaged in something that is taboo or kind of dark for the next couple of weeks in particular. But if you decided that you really want to work on a psychological goal, you know, say you had a fear of flying and you wanted to conquer it, this is a really great time to start, or at least get the ball rolling in terms of researching it. So with the square to Mars, Aquarius, Mars is in your 5th house, which is to do with your children. It's also to do with fertility. It's to do with creativity. It is to do with love and pleasure and joy, all those nice things. And with Mars being there for an extended time, right up until the spring next year, you might find at this time that you have a lot more of your single romantic interests. This can also be a time where you find that your children, if you have any, are taking up a lot of your attention. They might be more temperamental than usual, or there could be some confrontations with kids. Kids could be a little bit more confrontational if you have them. With Mars being there, this can also be maybe that you find if you're dating, that you're dating people and you're finding that they're maybe a bit more confrontational in nature, you know, they want to debate stuff. There can be a lot of back and forth. There can also be a lot of chemistry with people with Mars being in the 5th house as well. This can also mean that you're putting a lot of action towards a creative goal or a creative pursuit. Because of the square here, it feels like you might be really driven to do something creatively. And this could be a really good outlet for your energy if you are working on a creative project. Similarly, it could be frustrating at times. But the square to your 8th house is where maybe you feel a little bit like, if you have children, or maybe the concept of children can be kind of triggering to you, or something creative or something romantic can be kind of triggering to you, and maybe you're realizing, I need to work on this because this is coming from somewhere and I don't know where it's coming from, and you want to like get to the root of it. It might be that you're also really psychoanalyzing people in your 5th house area. So it could be children, it could be romantic interests, or something like that. You could be really wanting to psychoanalyze people. You could be learning about personalities and mental health and all that sort of stuff with this new moon in general. Now, the ruler of this new moon, Mercury, for you Aquarius, is in your 9th house. So that is where you're thinking a lot about the higher nature of things. You're thinking about potentially spiritual topics, religious topics. You're also maybe traveling in your mind quite a bit, or you're looking for some sort of mental adventure. And this is trining Mars in your 5th house. So this might be a time where you, if you are traveling, maybe you meet someone romantically, or you're taking a trip with your children, or you're taking a trip that is creative in nature, Aquarius. It's kind of an interesting one, I have to say. So I think for you, this is a new beginning in your closest relationships, your intimate relationships, but also a new beginning for you on a psychological level, or a new interest that is taboo in nature. So let's get you an oracle card. Ooh, we have the Scythe. Now the 8th house is also very much to do with death and rebirth, and I mean that in the metaphorical sense. The Scythe also means that in a metaphorical sense. It might be where you're deciding how to let go of something. I get the feeling that this is psychological for you with the sunrise in the background. How to let go of something, how to cut away anything that is really not working for you, and also how to potentially by the next full moon, how to reap rewards financially. Maybe you're getting your finances in order. I kind of feel like this is giving me the sense of, you reap what you sow, and the next full moon is in your 2nd house. So maybe you're reaping some rewards financially, Aquarius, or you're getting some kind of gift, some kind of return. So that's what I have for you, Aquarius. I hope you have a beautiful new moon, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye. Hi Pisces, Sun, Moon and Rising. So Pisces, this new moon is happening in your 7th house of relationships and partnerships, meaning that there is a new beginning here. So for a lot of you, that could indicate a new relationship, a new partnership, a new partnership interest, someone that you might want to get into a relationship with. The interesting thing about it is that Mercury, that rules your 7th house, the ruler of this new moon, is in shadow, and it is in Libra, which is your 8th house, which is to do with intimacy. And it's going to retrograde back into your 7th house. So there's a very strong chance for a lot of Pisceans that are single, that if you are beginning a new relationship, or there's the potential of a new relationship around this time, it might not be that new. It could be with somebody from the past. It could be with an ex. You could reconcile with someone in the 2 weeks that follow this new moon. You could also reconnect with someone that maybe you didn't date, but there was an interest there and it never got off the ground, or it could even be someone that there was no romance with, but that you used to know, and then you reconnect and there is a romance there. It's very likely with Mercury and Mercury's retrograde saga that's coming up, and the shadow period before and after, that you could be reconnecting with an old relationship. If you're in a relationship or you're married, this could be that there's an old issue that comes up that you need to revisit, or you decide that there's actually something that you and your partner maybe once wanted to do or used to do that you want to bring back. And this is going to be helpful for you guys. So Mars is in your 4th house and it's squaring this new moon. So Mars is going to be in Gemini until the spring of next year, and in this time period it's going to add a lot of energy to your 4th house, your living situation and your family. You might find your family a bit more irritating at this time, or you might find your living situation a bit frustrating, or you might be feeling a bit unsupported by your family, or like they're maybe a bit confrontational, or you're just not happy. If you're not happy where you live, this can be exacerbated with Mars here, and that might lead you to make some impulsive actions. I would recommend, if you're looking to move on a whim, I would wait it out until Mercury's gone direct, because Mercury also rules your 4th house. So you might be looking into it this time, moving, purchasing a home, purchasing a property or something like that. And you could just be feeling a bit frustrated about it at this time. It's also possible, Pisces, that if you are reconnecting with someone romantically, or you're beginning a new relationship, there might be some kind of reason that your home situation, your living situation isn't helpful to the dynamic. Maybe you live far away from each other, or it could just be that your family is not thrilled about it. Maybe if it's an ex or something like that, maybe they're just not into it, or there's like a living arrangement that's kind of awkward. But it's kind of coming up as that the tension is primarily coming from your home. I do think for a lot of you, with this being this Mercury retrograde period, because Mercury rules your 7th house and it's going through your 7th house, and your 8th house, which are relationship houses, retrograding back into your 7th house, there's a very strong chance for a lot of Pisceans that this new moon and then the full moon in September is calling back some sort of partnership from the past or relationship from the past that is going to be looked at again, at least discussed. So it might be as well that the fact that the ruler of this new moon, Mercury, is trining Mars in your 4th house and also trining Pluto in your 11th house, is that if you are reconnecting with a partner, or you're reconnecting with maybe a best friend or a business partnership, there's going to be conversations about property, living arrangements, and about long-term goals and aspirations with Pluto there. So you could be talking to, you could reconnect with someone. As I say, it doesn't have to be someone you actually dated. It could be someone that you used to be interested in romantically, or it never got off the ground, or something like that. But there's a strong possibility, Pisces, that if there is a new beginning in your partnership life, it might have some kind of link to the past. If you're in a relationship, it might be around this time that there's some frustration surrounding home and property matters or family matters that need to be discussed, and that's part of the new beginning. Perhaps you're moving in with a partner, purchasing a property with a partner, or maybe even there's something from the past that needs to be revisited with a partnership. So it's very active for you because we're going up to your full moon, Pisces. So let's get you an oracle card for Pisces. No way, the moon. It's so funny because we're going up to a new moon, in a full moon in your sign. This moon isn't the same as the tarot, so this isn't like, I'm not saying, oh, there's deception afoot or anything like this. This is actually a romantic moon. This card does rule romance, and it's very glamorous. It's very old Hollywood, that kind of thing. So it's kind of movie style-esque. So it might be like, for some of you, there's a scene plays out in your romantic or partnership life that feels like the movies. It can be like love at first sight, or it can be, do you know when everyone did that really strange, I don't know why this has come to my head. Do you know when everyone did that really strange trend with the Taylor Swift Wildest Dreams? And they were just like stare at the camera, and it would zoom in and them mouthing off to that song, and then it's like it ended up being a trend, and they played it to the look of love in movies and all these different scenes. It's sort of like when Jack sees Rose in the Titanic, like up on the deck, and he's staring up at her, and it's all slow motion and exciting. It's kind of that. I'm not saying it's going to be a Titanic kind of thing, but because that didn't end well. But there's something movie-esque and dreamy happening for you around this time, Pisces. And I also do feel like this is illuminating something in terms of cycles. So I feel like there might be something happening for you around this time that's kind of like the movies in a romantic sense. It could also be very creative for you as well. So that's quite exciting. That is what I have for you, Pisces. I will talk to you soon. Have a beautiful new moon.